All right, everyone, the legacy media is tentatively starting to cover the Joe Biden Tara Reade allegations. You saw Don Lemon grilling Stacey Abrams, of course, the other day on CNN, and she's circled the wagon more than almost anyone else. Most Democrats won't talk about it at all, but WaPo finally decided to make a story about it, but with the caveat. In order to make it seem like nobody cares about the allegation except for Trump superfans, like Trump fans are jumping on the Tara Reade thing and grilling him hard, like insinuating that you have to be like a Trump superfan to care. That's very, very funny because notice the difference between that or other similar legacy media coverage you're seeing right now and how you got coverage of the Kavanaugh case. Nobody said it was only Democrats that cared. Hell, the Republicans half threw Kavanaugh under the bus, and that was funny to see actually at the time. Now I've got two Cav. By the way, Dwarf Fortress joke. I'm sure that the two of you will get. But WaPo, I mean, look at it. Link in the description, archived, obviously. Remember, always archive links. Whenever I mention that I have links in the description, I'm going to tell people that they need to archive them. Archive.today or the Wayback Machine. It doesn't matter which. The latter results in long URLs. You're going to have to run them through like tiny URLs and shorten them up. But, I mean, look at the headline. And then you look at the actual story, and it's like, well, you've got this allegation. You've got the now missing on Google Play, the Google Play Store, Larry King episode. You've got all of these other people who have said, yeah, indeed, back in the 90s when the allegation was new, Tara Reade did inform them that this had happened, that Joe Biden had sexually assaulted her. At the time, there wasn't really much in the way that she could do. The allegation is this. Biden sexually assaulted her, and she leaves, essentially. She tries in vain to file a complaint, but finds that there's really no way to actually do that. Now, her mom, of course, at the time calls in, again, allegedly, we think that it was her mother, Tara Reade appears to have confirmed this, calls into Larry King to talk in the general sense about, oh, yeah, my daughter worked for the senator and she was sexually assaulted and there's no method by which you can actually do anything about that. So basically, there's no closure, and really, there's nothing further until fairly recently. But the thing is, it's corroborated by people who say that she talked about it at the time. I guess the idea was that she didn't say anything about it because nobody would take it seriously. If you think back to the way politics were in like the early 90s, yeah, if you were a female staffer and the politician is trying to dick you and you complain, you get fired. If you've already not on the job, maybe you get harassed by the police. You get intimidated. Clinton was famous for doing this, for basically what amounts to harassment of her husband's victims. Again, allegedly. You've got to use that for legal purposes because she's not in office at the moment. But allegedly, there was a lot of attempted intimidation going on. By the way, the cat is slowly trying to flump onto the computer. I'm afraid that would end the video, though, so you're not allowed. You have to stay back here, and it's very terrible. But, I mean, again, look at the headline and then compare it to some of the headlines that you saw from the Washington Post or wherever about even like Franken, to tell the truth. Now, Franken, high-ranking Senate Democrat, got thrown under the bus by elements, by the way, of the left, including Gillibrand, which is, you know, to her credit, actually. The legacy media was more forthcoming about that situation. They said, well, you know, we get this picture of him groping this reporter's boobs, pretty damning, and there was some element of attempt to defend him, but not like this. And that's because Biden is the presidential nominee for the Democratic Party. If he falls, the Democrats' shot in 2020 is basically done. Joe Biden has clinched the nomination fair and square, just won Ohio by mail-in ballot, which is hysterical. Joe Biden's their man. If he dies, or if he's forced to drop out due to health issues like his obvious dementia, or if he gets Me Too'd out of the race, the Democrats go back to square one and they have to deal with the fact that someone who is less popular than Biden, which is, I mean, laughable, but it's true, would be their nominee, would be their candidate. That would destroy them. You understand they would lose. It would also cause chaos within the party because although Biden has an extremely low level of enthusiasm, like we're talking less than John McCain levels of enthusiasm, I believe. Although there's a huge enthusiasm gap and nobody really truly likes him, people who have already gotten used to the idea of him being a candidate and said, well, yeah, okay, I can settle for Joe, are going to be goddamn pissed if Joe's not the one on the ballot. It would be anarchy. We're already in an untested waters sort of election where it's largely digital only. For several months, there's been no technical active campaigning going on at all. Trump isn't holding rallies. Biden could hold his, but he doesn't. You know, his never get more than 100 people at them, so it doesn't affect him. Bernie had stopped physically campaigning. It's basically the internet election at this point. By the way, advantage Trump on such a thing. But watching the legacy media by and large refuse to even talk about this case, and when they do, doing this sort of thing, don't you think maybe they're in the bag? Maybe it's not unbiased news coverage coming from the Washington Post and CNNs of the world. Maybe they have chosen who they want to win. Now, of course, what they would say, if really questioned about this, is yes, we want Biden to win because Trump is evil and he's Drumpfler. Of course, they would use that excuse. But that's not really their job now, is it? They want to pretend to be unbiased journalists and be straight reporting. Well, they're really not. Again, link in the description, archived, of course. Check it out. Look at their article and try to tell me that this isn't like a fluff up for Joe Biden and a direct attack. You're literally trying to blame Trump and Trumpfler's evil fans for the fact that Joe Biden, again, allegedly sexually assaulted someone in, 93 or 94. I don't think that Trump is the one that caused that to happen. I think that if it happened, it was Joe Biden. Again, you don't even have to take the allegations seriously. What gets me is the hypocrisy and the direct, explicit cover-up of the story by the corporate media. Those two things are of interest. I'm not a hashtag believe all women, hashtag me tooer, because in some cases people have had their lives ruined by false allegations, and then later on you can prove that the allegations were false. People get kicked out of college, people lose their jobs, people get kicked out of office or something over things that aren't even real. That has happened. Stunningly, quite often. That being said, though, the hypocrisy, because even Biden himself around 2017 was like, oh, I believe all women. We need to progress as a society, and we need to trust women to tell us the truth about men who put their hands on them. Then you've got Biden allegedly doing this. Well, I guess his old tweets from 2017, 2018 on the subject didn't age that well. But I doubt that the WaPo will have a story on it, and if they do, somehow they'll shoehorn Trump into it, I bet. That's about all. Peace out.